Welcome back, subscribers to Richter's Reviews. I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while. I did rank the Friday the 13th movies, so check that video out. I have ranked the Halloween films. Now, those movies, the Friday the 13th and Halloween, definitely going to do something else different with them in the future. But this is something I've been asked to do, and something I've thought about doing, and I'm going to rank my least to favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film. Now, just so we can be clear here, and everybody understands this, this is pretty much my opinion. So if you don't agree with that opinion, that's your right. But please don't leave me negative comments. But on this, it's pretty much just my opinion. So if you don't like it, that's one thing. But don't leave hateful comments on here. If you want, feel free to leave your favorites of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And but in all reality, I enjoy every one of these 9 films. I just there's ones that I actually like more. So without further ado, I'm going to go from least to favorite. Before I get into the list, I just wanted to say that I do not own any of the Nightmare on Elm Streets on Blu-ray except for the remake, reboot, reimagining, whatever. And I'm just so happy to have this set, the Nightmare on Elm Street collection that New Line Cinema released on DVD back in, what year was that? 1999 for its 15th anniversary. I still have that, and it's actually it comes with that Nightmare series encyclopedia, which you go through a maze and you see a bunch of different little things. It still has the 3D glasses, and it still have the book. So now for this list, number 10 is if anybody knows me well, and anybody that follows me on Facebook or watches my group pages or whatever can realize that the remake, to me, is, I did not see the remake in the theater. I've only watched the movie 3 times, and there is the only thing that I did like somewhat about this movie is that Katie Cassidy was in this movie. She plays on The Flash, and she has been on or The Flash or Green Arrow, one of them two. But the point is, she has been in some other horror films, like the remake Black Christmas and When a Stranger Calls. So she's been in the horror genre, and she was the main reason I wanted to see the movie, and she ends up getting killed because she plays the character that in the original movie she gets slashed and she goes rolling on top of the ceiling and all that. Before I get into this is number 10, or excuse me, number 9, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 version. Now, I do know that a lot of people were probably upset and angry that Robert Englund was not in the film. I understand that he is the quintessential Freddy Krueger. He has played Freddy Krueger 8 times. Not like Jason or Michael Myers or Leatherface, who've been played, and Hellraiser, who've been played by other people. And to have Jackie Earle Haley take over the role of Freddy Krueger was not really the main reason why I didn't like the film. I mean, he did okay for what he had to do, but that's my least favorite of the series, is the 2010 remake. A lot of the main reasons why it's the number 9 on the list is because of the basically it starts out. It's already, the dreams have already happened, and it's nothing like the original movie where you slowly progress into the dreams and that happens. But yeah, that's number 9. Number 8 of my least to favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movies is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge. Now, I have seen this movie I don't know how many times. The first time I actually saw Nightmare on Elm Street movies themselves was in the fall of 1989. So at that point, there had already been 5 films, but 4 were available on VHS. So I had watched the first 4 films, and then I really liked the first 4 films as I progressively watched the movies over and over, and watched them every year, at least once or twice a year. I really didn't. There's things about Nightmare on Elm Street 2 I like, and there's things I don't like about it. The things that I thought were really cool was the scene where he rips his head and says, "You've got the body and I've got the brain." I like that little comment. I also like the part where he goes and he breaks into this like pool party, and the face that he gives on that is just one of the creepiest Freddy Krueger faces ever. The other part is the things I didn't really like. And I have nothing against the gay community. It's just I didn't like the act. The Mark Patton is a great guy. I mean, he's a really cool guy, and it's just to have basically what I'm getting at is there's a lot of homophobic things in the film, and that's not the reason why I didn't like the film. So don't take what I'm saying to heart and bash me, okay? I have a lot of gay friends, and we're really, that's awesome. And but to have Freddy Krueger chasing after Nancy, and then as you see the series go on process, you see him chasing a guy. Now, at the time it was controversial, but hey, you know what? Actually, out of the series, this one might be the lowest of the actual original series, but there is a lot of great things about it. Mark Patton and Robert Englund, Robert Russler, Kim Myers. I really wish that this had made a better impact over the years. It's just, the fact remains is a lot of it is timing, and at the time it really didn't. It was because back then a lot of people were not supporting gays and stuff like that, which I support gays, and I support the LGBTQ community, but it's just the timing. That's all it was. So that aside, that if you take all that part of the side, that the main reason why I didn't like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was basically it wasn't as good as the first one. If you want to get straight to the point, and you want to get straight to the exact reason why I don't like part 2, the main reason I don't like it is because it was not as good as part 1, and the fact that the gym teacher was I have nothing against the actor who plays in that movie. I just don't like his roles in movies. Marshall Bell, he's just an ass, and just about any movie that he's in, he's just an ass. And I like the guy, I just don't like the characters he plays, which makes him get those characters because he plays them so damn well. So enough about Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Well, before I go off of that, I wanted to tell you that Nightmare on Elm Street, out of a 0 to 10 on the Richter scale, I give that a 2.5. On Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge, I give that a 3.5 out of 10. Now, the next one, this was number 7. and this is A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Now, the first time I saw this was in 1990, because I didn't get to see it in the theater. The first Nightmare on Elm Street movie I saw in the theater was Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. I really enjoyed Nightmare on Elm Street 5 when I first saw it. As the time's going on, I kind of lost my interest in the film. And there's some good things about it, and there's not so good things about it. Some of the having more than like I said, Robert Englund is known as playing Freddy in 8 films, but this was the first one where there was 2 or 3 other actors portraying Freddy Krueger, because of he had a hernia surgery during the filming of this movie, and he wasn't able to play the character throughout the whole film. But I would rank this at number 7 because of this. It's just not. There's certain things in the movie that you do, and certain things in movies that you don't do. And one of them is you just don't bring in the comic book world to characters in the Freddy Krueger film. At the time, it was probably groundbreaking and fun and all that, but now as the time goes by, it definitely loses its interest and power. And I rate this right next to Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with a 3.5. But the main reason I rank it just a smidge bigger more than that is because the portrayal of Alice, Lisa Wilcox. That's the main reason why I give it just a little notch above the Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And Stephen Hopkins went on to direct some great films. And Rachel, the Jack Shoulder, who directed Nightmare on Elm Street 2, he went on. He did Alone in the Dark prior to that, and he's went on to do a couple other films after that, like The Hidden. But yeah, so that's the first 3. Now we're getting into the top 6. So number 6 is Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors. Now a lot of people rank this up in the top 5 or even in the top 3. I like this movie. Don't get me wrong. When I rank these movies, I like every single one of them. There's just certain things I didn't like about it. This one I rate a 5 out of 10 on the Richter scale. I really like the characters and all the stuff that goes on during the film. I like Joey, and I like Kincaid, and I like Tina, Alice, and then Nancy Thompson, Heather Langenkamp from the first one returns. That was really cool to have that happen. And to have Wes Craven come back and write the screenplay, that was pretty cool too. I think this was directed by Chuck Russell. Yeah, Chuck Russell did the Blob after this. But Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors has got some great special effects, and is actually the one that led up into what the MTV version of Freddy Krueger, what made the series hit its highest peak, starting with Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors, which definitely hit its peak with all the MTV generation and music videos and all the one-liners and the craziness that Freddy Krueger had become a cultural phenomenon at the time, even though he had done 2 movies prior to this, but this is what led into that. But yeah, that's definitely a 6. I would give this a 6.6 out of 10 on my Richter scale. So that's Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Number 5 is A Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master. This is the one that has made the highest. It was the highest grossed of the original 7 films. This is the highest grossed of those, and even more higher grossed than the remake. Rennie Harlan, this is what got him on the map, even though he did a movie or 2 before this. But Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master is actually the one that a lot of people flock to in their top 3, like I mentioned, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. But I rated it at number 5 just because there's 4 other films that I like more. It's basically what I can say is, and I really like that they kept the the character Alice, even though she was not much of a. I don't think actually. I think it was Kristen that was in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, not Alice. But anyway, this was actually the introduction of Alice, who goes on to Part 5. And Lisa Wilcox, she's not only is she a very beautiful woman today and then, but she hit it right out the ballpark with her character as Alice. And so yeah, that was Kristen. I apologize. That was actually Kristen that was in the third one. So in the fourth one, played by the great, the awesome, fabulous actress Tuesday Knight. I love that name, by the way, Tuesday Knight, even though it's spelled Knight. They did a great soundtrack of this too. I know that they actually did a CD when this came out, and this is actually a 30th anniversary. This year is the 30th anniversary of Nightmare on Elm Street 4. So yeah, I give this a 7 out of 10 on the Richter scale. So next is in number 4, and that is Freddy versus Jason. Now, a lot of people crap on this movie. This year is its 15th anniversary. I remember when it first came out, and all the people that I talked to at work, and all the people I talked to at home and family, they liked the film, but it just got a lot of hate over the past 15 years. I like it. I still like it today. I like the fights. Some of the I do agree with certain little things they could have fixed on, and to not have Kane Hodder playing it, that's what it is. Ken Krasinger did what he could and did what he had to do for the film, and I give this a 7 as well on the Richter scale. But Freddy vs. Jason definitely is. I'm proud to have it in my collection, and I still enjoy it today. I just don't. The biggest two biggest things I don't like. One is the worm smoking pot thing. The special effects on that really sucks now. And the second thing is to making Jason afraid of water. Now, the main reason I can understand it just a smidge is because Jason's not afraid of anything, and the only thing that Freddy Krueger could find out what Jason's afraid of is through his subconscious. As a child, he was afraid of water. That's the best explanation I can give. So number 3, now this might upset and piss a lot of people off. Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare is actually my third favorite film. It is the first one I saw in the theater. Rachel Talalay, who directed Tank Girl, was her first movie. She had been helping on the Nightmare on Elm Street since the second film, and I really like this film. I can see why a lot of people don't like it. The special 3D effects and stuff like that is really outdated today, and especially the the 3D aspect of it just doesn't hold up very well. But it's got a lot of craziness stuff. But hey, you have Leslie Dean, from a great actress and a great singer and a great friend on my Facebook, and you have her in it. I mean, come on, Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. If you really want to, all intents and purposes, if you really look at this film, I've mentioned this before in videos before, that if you look at this film and you watch the first 6 films movie, this was actually the last Nightmare on Elm Street, because Wes Craven's New Nightmare was him coming out of the movies into reality, and then Freddy vs. Jason was taking 2 horror icons and having them battle, and the remake was the remake. So if you really look at this movie, Freddy's Dead was really the final nightmare, because they really killed him off, and the 3 other films after this was just him coming out of movies, and was a remake and was an iconic battle. So Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare to me is my third favorite of the series, and I give this a 7.5. If you don't like it, that's fine, but it's my third favorite film. Like I said, Leslie Dean's in it. If you don't know who that is, look her name up on Facebook, or look her name up on IMDb. My second favorite is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This is the second Nightmare on Elm Street film I saw in the theater, and I still enjoy it tonight. I also give this a 7.5. The only reason I rate it a little bit higher than Freddy's Dead is because Wes Craven came back, directed this, and I like all the things that he tried to change up for the series, and it really was good. And they cut a lot, and he had a darker Freddy. It was a darker Freddy in this movie. So yeah, I mean, the late Wes Craven, God bless him. I mean, rest in peace, Wes Craven. But this is my second favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film. And as anybody would guess, number 1 is A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, which next year will be 35 years old. The late Wes Craven, great film. He's the master, horror master. Scream films, The Nightmare on Elm Street, Swamp Thing, plenty of other films. And I remember the first time I saw this movie, I always thought, wonder if there really is a guy that could dream about getting to your dreams. I remember thinking that, and it never happened, obviously, but I was always thinking maybe this guy could actually really get in your dreams and mess you up. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. There's not much more I can say that nobody has said about Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but I love the atmosphere. I love everything about the film. I give this an 8.5 out of 10 on the Richter scale. Now, a lot of people have also asked me, why do I never give a movie 9 or a 10? That's not true. They actually do that. There's only 2, maybe 3 films I've actually given a 10 out of 10 on my Richter scale. So, but this is an 8.5. I'll give this an 8.5. Nightmare on Elm Street, classic film, classic series. And yeah, so that concludes my ranking of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And for all you fans of the remake, Part 2, Part 5, and the fans who don't like Freddy vs. Jason or Freddy's Dead, leave your comments below. Just be nice on it, okay? A little bit. Yeah, so my name is Brad Richter. This is Richter's Reviews. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. Please leave comments down below. And leave your list of your favorite Nightmare on Elm Streets. I'd like to know. Anyway, have a great evening, and I will catch you on the next video.